Greetings from Govardhan. I guess I'm like a sadhu here, my kutir. Okay, we're going to start and discuss a verse we discussed before and then go pretty quickly. Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. Volume 2, Chapter 3, Text 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Wait, which verse? Text 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pūrvaṁ bahu-kālena samprāptāḥ kramaśo dhunā sarve nimeṣataḥ krāntā yugapan manaseva. The planets I had early attained one by one over a long period of time, I now crossed in the blink of an eye, as if by the power of my mind alone. Purport: Gopkumar had visited Swarga, Mahar, Tapas, and Satya and stayed for a while on each of these planets. Now he was passing over these same planets at the speed of mind. It might be said that since these planets are nothing more substantial than assemblages of the gunas of material nature, they no longer appear independently real to someone who has subdued his mind. So in that sense, passing out of this universe is but an effort of the mind. But since Gopkumar physically broke through the sphere of the sun, he did not have to exert himself. Therefore, the qualification, even as if, is added here to the word manaseva by the mind. Om jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya Chaksur unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya mano bhishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam tadati sapadantikam vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Again, greetings from Govardhan. You know, one challenge I have is I'm actually teaching 3 different classes on the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta at different places. So sometimes I get lost. But we know that, let's see if I can get the train of thought here, is that the Bhakti Shastras were, let me see where I was. Yeah, Gopkumar on Brahmaloka, discussion of liberation by the Bhakti Shastras. And then, very surprisingly, they tell him to go to the abode of liberation, Mahakalapur. And very interesting, he's even told by that in the abode of liberation, the Lord will even be more beautiful, I will be even more beautiful. There's a really interesting point here, that what a person is, I mentioned this many times, what a person is their love in relationship. And that aspect of a person is only given to others by their will, according to that person's love and intimacy. So there's one absolute truth, Advayam Gyan, Vedanta Tat Tattvidas Tattvaya Gyanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Iti Bhagavan Iti Shabhyate. It's called different things, and it manifests in different ways, but it's one person. So there's not a Brahman, there's not a Paramatma, there's not a Bhagavan. There's one person who reveals themselves to others, as we do, according to the intimacy. That's why bhakti is the abhideya for real reality, because the absolute reality is a person. And persons can only be understood in love. So it's interesting, even he goes to the place where people are merging, but it's still God, and God manifests to him personally in even a more beautiful way. But anyway, he's told to go to this realm of liberation, and he has some interest in it. He's never heard about it. And this is really this journey of Gop Kumar, going to different planetary systems. We all follow our faith. And our faith is as Prabhupada said, it's where our trust is, in sublimity. And we search for that, and we move for that. So he's moving for that, his faith, which was given, well, it's a combination of who he is and what his guru has awakened in him strongly, this desire for Vrindavan, Braj. But what's carrying him is this faith and his character. And that's carrying him forward. But because he's not educated, then he can only act on the platform of second-class intelligence. First-class intelligence is you hear something and you accept it as true. Well, he has that kind of intelligence, but he hasn't really yet been educated in what's been true, because he got initiation from his guru, and then his guru in ecstasy wandered off. So it's more or less second class that he has to experience something before understanding it. In one sense, because Gop Kumar is showing the journey of a sadhaka, it's also us. I was thinking this also. How many things do we have to experiment with before we understand their value, either positive or negative, and mostly negative? We put our faith, even now as devotees hearing Shastra, we put our faith, oh, this will make us happy, this will make us happy. I know one friend of mine that's been maintained a very high level of Krishna consciousness, but has the most unfortunate karma externally, challenging, that I've seen, and he remains Krishna conscious. But the result is he's understood. It's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this. Until there's nothing but God. I wrote that article on Borijan's statement. Anyway, he's somehow directed to go back to Vrindavan and get educated by his guru. And if he gets educated by his guru, he'll be able to go more directly towards his goal. So he goes and he comes back, and the earth has been changed, even though Braja remains the same. I also see this in Vrindavan. In one sense, the earth has changed, but Vrindavan remains the same. And I'm talking about in Vrindavan. It's so much different than when I came here. Krishna Balaram Mandir was in the wilderness. There was nothing between the Krishna Balaram Mandir and the first road. And beyond the Krishna Balaram Mandir and the Pūrvaṁ path, there was nothing. Across from the Krishna Balaram Mandir, which wasn't even built, was nothing. And then look what happened now. You can't even get into Radharaman temple. There's so many people flooding the Dham as Krishna consciousness is spreading. You can't even get into the Radharaman temple. I think they close it off just for their personal worshipers now. Except sometimes there's something in long lines. But Braj remains the same. That's what I see. Braj is more there's always something sacred in Braj. And as the Lord told him, you'll find your guru who's on consciousness with ecstatic love. And we studied this last time, so I'll go back, but it's always to give context. And he brings his guru back to normal. His guru knows everything because the super soul is in the heart. So he understands his desire, and he obeys, and then he teaches him actually how to chant the mantra, how to meditate. And he does it in a very subtle way, because if he speaks, he has so much bhav and a personality that's easily affected. There's different types of spiritual personalities. It's mentioned in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. They're pure, and I describe purity as like different shapes of metal. You put them in fire, they become the same, but they maintain their shape. Our minds, our personalities, our souls is such a variety. I'm studying with Niranjan Swami about Vaikuntha. There's different types of personalities that allow God to share a variety of pastimes. So this particular guru, I would put him as in the pebble in the pond mentality, rather the volcano in the ocean. The pebble in the pond mentality is any little thing. Ha 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 ha, hee, whoa, Hare Krishna. Any little thing affects the consciousness. And the volcano in the ocean, so many things can happen, but you won't see external. So much emotion, but you won't see anything external. So his guru enlightens him, and it's very interesting. Prabhupada said, having a really coming in contact with a pure devotee, it's not like you get enlightened by an electric shock coming from his finger, but it's not an intellectual process either. But applying the intellect and the heart and the mind in Krishna's service, then you become enlightened with knowledge. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti pūrvaṁ dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena. One who worships me, faith and knowledge, I give them the knowledge. So, Guru says, now you'll understand everything by my mercy. And then the Guru leaves, he's disturbed. He calms his mind by chanting, and then he sees that all these planets, they're temporary and therefore not real. They don't have substance. Things that change don't really have substance. Nasate vidyate bhavo, nabhavo vidyate sataha. That which is changing is not real. And it's not real. There's something else there. And now we'll get to today's verse, and then we'll go quickly. I just wanted to put it there. So now, his body changes, it becomes transcendental, and he breaks through the sphere of the sun, and then he passes all these planets that took him so long before, and he crosses them in a blink of the eye. And this is also a very important point. Especially you go to the spiritual world, there's nothing that dominates God. So his determination is an absolute fact. So anything can happen by God's will. Crossing over to the spiritual world, it's not a physical distance. It's another dimension that's crossed by faith. And by God's will, with that faith, you can move quickly. It's not, as mentioned, the Brahma Samhita, pantastu koti satavatsara sampragamyo vayora tapi manaso, that you can go by the speed of mind for millions and millions of years. You won't even touch the dust of the feet of God, because that realm is transcendental to any spatio-temporal restrictions. So he crossed so quickly because he's under another jurisdiction beyond the modes of nature. And then he reaches the coverings of the universe, each of them, more so than the one before, was rich with enjoyments and opulences millions of times greater than Brahmaloka. So we have this thing, it's the universe. We can look up in the sky. How vast is the sky? How vast is the universe? The earth is just like a piece, like the head of the pin to Jupiter. And Jupiter is like a spot compared to the sun or the universe. And the universe is a spot compared to the galaxy. We are the frog in the well. And they tell that story of the frogs in the well, and one frog goes out and he tries to tell the other frog what's there, and the other frog can't accept it. Because his frame of reference is so limited. We should be humble and understand that our frame of reference is so limited. And if you're practicing Krishna consciousness, you should understand it. Because by the practice of Krishna consciousness, your frame of reference, your vision, what you see, what you understand, it should increase. And then you understand, I've known very little, and I know very little now, because that truth is so beyond what I believe, what I see. Although we have this confidence that now I see reality, even though it should be clearer than what was the previous years, or go back what it was, or maybe even before what you were devoting. We're so tiny, we're so insignificant. And therefore, in the humility, reality creates humility, because in reality we are not the center. We are not the subject that is viewing objects. We are the object that's viewed by the subject. I think I explained that before. Somehow my back, because of it, is to Govardhan Hill here, not so far away. I describe I'm meditating and I'm chanting. I'm sitting over there, looking at, kind of facing Govardhan Hill, and trying to change my consciousness from seeing the whole world around me to seeing me as a spark of consciousness around Govardhan. I am the object. And that type of consciousness, which is divine love, that's what happens at bhava bhakti or prema bhakti. We become the object. That's love. That the agency rests someplace else with the object of our love, and we move by that. And that movement by the object of is love, just like the mother is moving around the little child. That movement around the subject, being the object of that's love. So we know, so the enjoyments, the rich, opulent enjoyment, millions of times greater, inconceivable. 4 billion, 40 billion, 400 billion, 4,000 billion, 40,000 billion, 400,000 billions. Why not? It's God's creation universe. We're on this little planet of Earth, and we think we're so insignificant. We think we're so significant. Our significance will be our love, not our position. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. At the level of prema, it's an unlimited ocean of love. We can have unlimited love and value at being loved by God. Our value will not be in our position or power. Our value will be in that we're loved by God because we've taken shelter of God, Krishna. So, souls who have transcended the false attributes of created things and who aspire for gradual liberation strive also to go beyond the causative elements of creation, elements found again as false attributes in what is known as a subtle body. To do this, they enter the shell of each element. They enter into a body composed of that element, enjoy to their fullest desire the essence of pleasure to be had there. So there's earth, water, fire, and what you're going to see also is very interesting. As they go through the elements, in other words, this is the gradual process. They're having experience to be able to renounce it. And as they renounce it, they go to the next experience. It's somehow or other, they have the faith in the goal, but there's something left in the heart to be purified, and they're able to go through the universe without actually getting entangled, but kind of like a been there, done that, been there, done that, been there, done that, and go. And they enter into a shell formed of each element. And the elements have objects of senses. Fragrance, the earth. And as each element becomes more and more subtle, the vision of God becomes more and more clear. And the intensity of enjoyment becomes more and more clear. Because with the facility of the service becomes the facility of offerings to God without becoming entangled. So it becomes millions and millions. It's mind-blowing. And you'll find in the Wait till we get to Vaikuntha. My mind is already blown. But that's next. But what's revealed in the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is unprecedented. You won't even find it in the Bhagavatam. The depth of description of the universe and of Vaikuntha. But also Braja Bhakti, because it's Gop Kumar, and no matter how many times, millions of times, enjoyment and riches and opulence and more facility to enjoy and to offer to God. It cannot crush his faith in the sweetness of the object of his mantra Madan Gopal. It cannot crush his faith. So with the gradual elevation, and they want to strive to go beyond it, to do this, to go beyond it, they enter into each element, compose, and enjoy to their full desire the essence of pleasure to be had there. Purport: when a jiva on his way out of the material universe passes through its coverings, avaranas, he is provided a body made of the subtle element he is passing through. Otherwise, mere proximity to these concentrated masses of elementary energy would destroy his body at once. In each successive covering, the jiva finds wonderful opportunities for more refined material enjoyment. Since the material creation exists for the jiva's enjoyment, these original reservoirs of the material elements brim with reservoirs for pleasure. The grosser objects produced from the causal elements, earth, water, fire, air, and so on, are great sources of sense gratification for the conditioned living beings. And the superior subtle forms of matter afford even better sense enjoyment. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, intelligence, mind, pradhan, mahatattva. In the covering form of each element, pleasures from combination of all the elements are available, just as inside the universe, but in the covering form of a particular element, that element predominates. In each of the coverings, more happiness is found than on Brahmaloka, and in each consecutive covering offers more happiness than the one before. So, this is a direct process. Gotta surrender. It's a direct process where you can get educated in Krishna consciousness. But still, we see it. We see how much our education has to do with the experiences we have, combined with jnana chakshus, seeing through the eyes of the Shastra. So whether we get enjoyment or whether we get suffering or whatever, we can look at it from the eyes of the Shastra, and change our minds and expand our frame of reference. The first covering I entered was that of earth. There I saw the Supreme Lord in the form of a great boar being worshipped by the goddess Earth, the deity presiding over that covering and its wealth. She worshipped him with riches not to be obtained within the universe, while all the opulence of the universe whirled within every pore of his body. So somehow or other, more opulence, but it's manifest, and the predominating goddess is worshiping the Lord. Purport: even when seeing Lord Mahapurusha on Brahmaloka, Gopkumar did not see all the opulences of the 14 worlds in every pore of the Lord's body as he was seeing them now. Each higher world is closer to spiritual perfection. So in each successive world, the Lord reveals more of his infinite glories. So each thing is closer to spiritual perfection. And somehow or other, there's more opulence to offer to God. And more opulence for you to transcend in your service to God. The presiding ruler of each higher planet is more elevated than the ruler of the planet below, and still more elevated are the presiding deities of the subtle coverings. So the goddess Earth, in the subtle covering earth, stands above Lord Brahma. So somehow or other, Gop Kumar is heading to the realm of liberation, which will be the gateway to Vaikuntha. And he has to go through all of this. It's also described in the second canto, but this elaborates it much more. Tasyam karana rupayam kaya rupam idam jagat tad upadanukam sarvam spuritam chavalokayam. Within the goddess Earth, who embodies the subtle causes of creation, I saw the creation itself with all its ingredients. As clay is the ingredient cause of a pot, the elements presiding over by the deities of the avanas are the ingredients cause of the universe. Since earth is the most prominent ingredient within the material universe, the goddess Bhumi appears to be the source of all creation. So earth is the grossest manifestation of matter and has all the sense objects in it. We describe water doesn't have fragrance, but has the other four. Fire, water has taste. Fire doesn't have taste or fragrance, but it has the other three. Air doesn't have the object of sight, but and only has touch and sound, and ether only has sound. You can't even touch it. But as it gets more and more subtle, there's less and less covering in the vision of God, and more of a revelation of God's person and beauty, and more opulence to offer to God. So pretty amazing. Vidhaya Bhagavat Pujan Taya Tirtena Satkrita Dhanani Katicha Tatra Bhogatarta Mahamarti. After she finished worshiping the Lord, the goddess honored me as her guest and begged me to remain there to enjoy for a few days. Taking her leave, I quit. So each place he goes, I don't know, they want him to stay. And it's not selfish, because each place one is situated, they almost have the sense that this is the best. Although they have some conception there's something higher. And also, they somehow feel that he belongs there. Taking her leave, I quickly crossed that covering as if pulled by some force and reached the other six. Purport: although the goddess Bhumi, a first-class Vaishnava, encouraged Gopkumar to stay longer in her domain, he could not tarry because the force of his sadhana was impelling him towards the abode of mukti. Wow, your sadhana can carry you forward. We all need a time and a place for Krishna. There's sadhana, there's sadhakas, and there's sevakas. Some may be more sevakas, some may be more sadhakas. But tesham satata yuktan, one who is absorbed totally. So there's a force of sadhana that carries you forward. One after another, I saw Lord Matsya, Surya, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarsana, and Vasudeva, each with one of the great manifested deities of these coverings, worshipping him with the element over which that deity presided: water, fire, air, ether, ego, and Mahat. Purport: Gopkumar discovered Matsya in the covering of water, Lord Surya Narayan the covering of fire, and so on. Each covering was the subtle cause of the one before it and had a greater object of worship, a greater worshiper, and greater sense gratification, opulence, and importance. Swakaryat pūrvaṁ karanam chotarantaram puja pujaka bhogasi mahat tatve dikadikam. Mahat-tvena, importance. Adika adikam, greater and greater. Bhoga, worship. Pujaka, worshipper. Puja, object of worship. Uttaram, one after another. Purport: because the covering made of water is closer to spiritual existence than the previous covering, that of earth. In the watering covering, the Supreme Lord manifests himself more fully in the form of Matsyadeva. Thus, the demigod presiding over the watering covering is greater than the demigoddess of earth, and the watering enjoyments and opulence surpass the earthly one. This hierarchy holds true for all the coverings, one after another. So, manifest more fully. We manifest more fully in terms of intimate love. So God manifests himself more and more fully as one is ascending through the universe. And ascending through the universe means they transcend the previous element. They've transcended it. So you transcend the various elements is the degree you can give your heart to God and the degree that God manifests himself more. Purvavatanyati kramya prakrit avaranam gata mahatamo mayam sandra shaimikakshi minoharam. As before, I crossed over each of these coverings and finally came to the covering made of primordial nature, composed of the most subtle form of ignorance. It was dark blue and attractive to the eyes and mind. Sandra Samika. Sandra means thick. Shamika, thick Shamika, blue. And Manaharam, it steals the mind. Not only the mind, Akshi, Manaharam, it steals the mind. And it's composed of primordial ignorance. So he finally came to this. Purport, as before, implies that at each stage of his journey, Gopkumar was greeted as a welcome guest by the presiding deity who requested him to stay and partake of the pleasures of that realm, which Gopkumar politely declined, taking his host's permission to travel on. Finally, he arrived at the covering of Prakriti, the source from which all other coverings evolve. This covering, the original reservoir of Tamogun, appears dark and yet attractive, as described by Arjuna in Sri Harivamsa. I perceived the darkness as dense of mud, so concentrated I could feel its touch. Then I reached a darkness that was dense like a mountain. And it's also described in the Bhagavatam. And through this, we see Gopkumar's faith is carrying him. If he didn't have that faith, some experience in his heart of a higher objective, he couldn't transcend the lower objective. And this is also classic Bhagavad Gita. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehana raso rajam so param drishva. One is drishva, param, has a higher taste. Then you can transcend. And that taste is your faith. And people who have that faith, they can transcend any material allurement. And you see that in Braj with very advanced devotees. Tapo divyam yena kaputva sattvam shudyed yasman. And they can perform austerities. But it's not artificial. It's their taste in Krishna consciousness. And it carries them forward beyond any allurement in this world. Tasmin nijeshta devasya varna sadrisham attate Jisvaham nitaram rishto nacham gatum tatograta. Seeing spread everywhere a color like that of my worshipful Lord, I was very much delighted. I had no desire to go further. Purport, the beautiful sham color of the Prakriti region seemed just like the color of Gopkumar's deity, Srimad Gopal. Since the total dimensions of Prakriti cannot be measured by any means, the attractive effulgence seemed to expand infinitely. Gopkumar was so charmed that by the color he felt no impulse to move on. And we'll see this when he seems to find the objective of his faith. He becomes satisfied and stays until by experience he realizes it's not the it's not the complete objective of his faith. And that'll happen to us also. There are devotees of Ram that became attracted to Krishna. Ram was very attractive. It's the Supreme Lord. But there's a more intimate revelation of the Supreme Lord that was more attuned to the nature of their soul to serve God. And in time, they realize that when they actually see the fuller manifestation and become attracted. And if you don't have that in your soul, then you won't be attracted. That's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anupam, the father of Jiva Goswami, the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatan, they tried to convert him to Gopi Bhav. And because you can imagine the affection, and Sanatana Goswami was the guru of all the other Vaishnavas, you can imagine. And in that type of culture, the older brother was the authority. And my God, Rupa and Sanatana is his brother. And they try, and he therefore tried because Acharya Mam Vijanayam Navamanyet, you should accept the Acharya as your very self. And people who were cultured, they saw the potency of guru in parents. So many teachers, government, everybody was representing Krishna, and they had that samskar, that nature, to surrender to faith and have trust. So he tried, but he cried. I can't do it, and he was blessed. Same thing with Murari Gupta. So you may find your Lord, but then he may reveal himself more and push you forward. So he sees what this is, the effulgence of Prakriti, the material nature, which is God's energy. He can see it as God's energy. And he can see seeping within that energy the influence of God. He became so attractive. As I arrived, the goddess Prakriti had just finished the worship of her Lord, the Lord of that region, the effulgent Sri Mohini Murti. The goddess at once approached me in her own superlative form. Mohini Murti is more attractive than Maya herself. The eyes like to look at beautiful forms, usually the opposite sex. And this is the supreme manifestation of Prakriti. He has to transcend that. She offered me gifts, such as Anima Siddhi and other great yogic powers. And like the goddess of earth and other deities, she asked me to stay. Sasneham cha jagateham yari tvam muktam itchasi tatapyanu grananinam mam tasya pratiharinam. She sweetly told me, if you want to achieve your goal of liberation, then please be kind to me, because I am the bestower of liberation. Beautiful purport, one sentence. One would normally think that to attain liberation, one must reject material nature. But in fact, one achieves liberation when material nature chooses to release one. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya darateya mameva ye papadyante maya metabsa. Material nature, it's divine. It's God's energy. It serves God's energy. When we don't want to be what we are, which is a servant of God, God, to satisfy our desire, puts us in the illusion that we're not a servant of God, that we're the enjoyer and controller. So as long as you have that desire, you're subjected to that energy. But it's not that that energy is putting you in prison. You're putting yourself in prison. It's your desire. And if you change the desire, then that energy will release you. So the material energy, you become liberated when the material energy chooses to release you. And when will it choose to release you? When you no longer want the service of the material energy to put you in the illusion that you enjoy and controller. When you surrender and you desire, what's that verse? Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam eko bahunam yo vididhati kaman. There's one supreme eternal, there's many supreme eternals. There's one living force, there's many. And the one, eko, bahunam, the one to the many, but tries to satisfy their desires. So God satisfies our desire here to not be a devotee. He has to put us in illusion. That's the illusory energy. Change the desire, then God removes that energy. Bhaktamichasi va vishnos tatapye tasya chaitakam bhaginam shakti rupam mam kripaya bhaja bhakti dam. Oh, if you want devotion to Vishnu, still you should be kind and worship me, the giver of devotion, for I am his maidservant, his sister, and the embodiment of his energy. Pure Vaishnava, we'll do 2 more verses. Pure Vaishnavas do not care for liberation, but still they respect Prakriti for other reasons. She is the Lord Vishnu's humble servant and sister, born as Subhadra from the womb of Yasoda. And she helps Lord Vishnu's devotees make progress in devotional service. Although Maya is not identical with the Lord's internal energy, Antaranda Shakti, she is an expansion of the energy, embodiment in the external elements. Thus, she is non-different from the original energy, just as a person's shadow is non-different from a person. Sri Gopkumar Uvacha Tarashe Shamana Dritya Vishnu Shakti Diparam Tam Natva Varanam Ramya varnam tadrastam abhravam. Sri Gokumar said, declining all these enticements, understanding them to be the potency of Lord Vishnu, I bowed down to the goddess and then wandered for a little while to see that beautiful region. Interesting. Gopkumar had the discretion to reject the gifts offered by Prakriti and her proposal that she stay in her domain, but the atmosphere of that place was pleasing to the mind and senses, so he wanted to stay a little longer to examine its wonders more closely. Still not ready, even when he goes to Vaikuntha. It's incredible when he goes to Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, but he's still not ready for Braj. Even, and we were discussing this today, that even if you perfect your Krishna consciousness in this life, anything's possible by the mercy of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga by Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to go to Boma Lila. You have to go to Krishna's pastimes in the material world. And when you first try to go to see Krishna, you fail. You fail because there's still some desires, there's still some attachments. And it's that separation from Krishna that burns the attachments. The separation is a manifestation of intense attraction. You're only separated from that which you're attracted to. And the more you're attracted to something, the greater the separation you have. Last verse for today. Splendid with the most excellent wonders, that place was delightful, shining on its own, multitudes of living entities enjoying it, their bodies made of primordial matter. It was inconceivable, utterly enchanting in opulence, and many of its forms all at once. The whole of the material creation dealt within it, with all the elements of creation, subtle and gross. By the desire of the Lord, I then crossed beyond that vast region of dense ignorance and came to a place flooded with a light so brilliant, so unbearably beyond seeing, that it forced me to close my eyes. With utmost devotion, I struggled to look ahead, and then I saw the Supreme Lord effulgent like millions of suns. Ever increasing the ecstasy of my mind and eyes, that all-powerful Lord, adorned with many ornaments and sweet features, and bearing all the signs of an exalted person, revealed himself as the most wondrous form of the supreme truth. Anyway, to be continued. These sections are a little dense, but we try to get that main idea that faith will carry you. Faith, experience, sublimity of God will carry you forward beyond the attractions that you may have to experience to reject in comparison. Very beautiful. Okay, Jamuna Jaya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank
Okay,
you for class. There were so many good points, but that last bit at the end of like, Maya will release you when you stop desiring. I was thinking Maya's not going to stay where she's not wanted, and it's that old thing of like hugging the tree. The tree won't let go of me. The tree will let go of me, but we're holding on to the tree. That made so much sense to me today. She'll release, but we have to stop wanting her, otherwise she'll stay right there.
It's like this. When you want to be something that's beyond your capacity to achieve, it can only be fulfilled in illusion. So we want to be the enjoyer and controller, which we're not, it can only be filled in illusion. So God fulfills the illusion. So the illusion, the energy is just following that desire. When you
Mm.
want to be what you are, then there's no need for God to put you in illusion and you're free. Okay.
Mm. Thank you,
Kumari
Raj.
Jaya, how's the weather there?
It's today it's actually pretty good. It was very, very cold on Saturday, like cold whipping winds. Today it's a little bit warmer, so it's doing New York winter. So,
Yeah, I really did something with my house with the doors and everything. It's got such insulation. It's not that cold
mm,
outside. You put on a little heater and it's great. Okay.
beautiful. Thank you, Raj.
Okay.
Very cool.
Gail, I bet this was real simple one for you. You understood everything. There's no questions.
Good one, Maharaj. Good one. You
What?
know, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, especially the beginning part. Well, not just the beginning part. In every class, I actually am confused about Gopakumar's itinerary, the itinerary of his journey after he leaves Brahma Loka, right? He's like he doesn't he can't deal with that job of being Lord Brahma, right? And he leaves, and he goes through the 8 layers, and I think he goes through them twice, no? One with attachment, one without. Anyway, I'm so confused by his itinerary, especially because when Krishna sends him to Mahakalapur, and he goes to Vraja, but doesn't, because like
Well, he
this.
goes to Boma. He goes to the earthly realm and meets his guru.
Okay, but Maharaj, I need like, you know, point by point. He goes this place first, that place next, that place
Okay,
third.
I'll put that together and I'll put it. I'll put it in the thing next class. Okay.
Okay,
All
then
right.
also, yeah, Maharaj, you mentioned also about the
But
subtle.
send me a note to
I
remind me.
will, I
I'll
I
put
will.
each place. Okay, go
And
ahead.
also, when you were remember one point you said the subtle elements are above even Brahmaloka.
I didn't say it. It must have been said in the text.
It is. It was. Yeah. Well, anyway, you repeated the text.
Gail, I've been working on, I'm getting it. I'm working on this with Niranjan Swami, and we're going back, and it's beautiful. You get the real essence of what's going on here.
Mhm.
He has such simplicity, detachment, faith in guru, faith in mantra, and that becomes his faith. And because of that faith, therefore he can be very simple, he can be very detached. He's never envious anywhere he goes. He has so many qualities that are carrying him forward. But he still has lingering ambitions, and he doesn't have full realization. So he needs education and he needs experience. And I think we need the same. We need education and we need experience.
Mhm.
Okay, Gail, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else like to say hello today?
Raj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Thank you greatly.
Haribo, thank you.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj Narmasak is here. Thank you so much
Namasaki,
for the class.
I just there's one lady online here that I sent her that article, The Supreme Personality of Rice. I just want to let you know that you are the person who brought that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm in separation from the Supreme Personality of Right. I
Me
just
too,
remember
Guru Maharaj. Me too, me too,
we
me
were
too.
sitting up in, I think it was a Kinchana's apartment or something like that. A Kinchana Krishna's.
Yeah.
And then, wow. Okay. Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay. Nice to hear from you again. I think in the next week or something, we should touch base and just talk and catch up sometime. Yeah.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you.
Are you on your farm or in the city?
No, actually, I'm in Shiraz. I came here to visit my sister, Simantini
Oh,
Devi.
give
Yeah,
her my
I'm with her
regards,
now.
okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you,
That's
Guru
in
Maharaj.
Shiraz?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else like to say hello? Okay, I'm looking over the list of all and grateful for everyone. We'll get through this together. It's not the easiest. This particular section is a little bhakti shastras and everything. Especially we're going quickly. We're not stuck one verse and discussing, trying to get a general thing. Okay, I'm looking at everybody that's attending. Okay, thank you all.
Hey, Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for class.
Thank you for class.
We'll see you guys soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're just checking everything now before I go, because then I won't be back until everybody's back.
You're leaving for Mayapur this week?
Yeah, the painstaking life of sannyas. It's too much. Yeah. I'm going to Mayapur, staying with Jagadish and Yugala. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Haribo.
We can't wait to see you.
Okay. Haribo, Yudhisthira, I see you there. Nice to see you. Haribo. Okay. Okay. We'll see. Vancha kalpa tarubhyas chakra Haribo.